Greetings, I'm Zachary Hepner. I'm pleased to share this Dvar Torah with you for Parashat Pekudei. Let's explain a word. This time, the final word in sefer Shmot, the book of Exodus. Lehavdil, elef, havdalot. Let's say a master designer hires a master architect to build the Louvre and all the art inside. The master architect builds all the parts, including the art, including the Mona Lisa, including the picture frames. Everything is prepared perfectly. How would you describe the master designer's final inspection before assembly? He visited the plant. He went to the museum. She inspected the artwork. Not so in Parashat Pekudei, chapter 29, verse 33. Vayaviu et hamishkan el Moshe, et ha'ol, et kol kelav, krasav, brichav, amadav, adanav. They brought the tabernacle to Moses with a tent and all its furnishings, its clasps, its planks, its bars, its posts, and its sockets, etc., etc., the Aron Ha'idut and its poles and covers, etc., etc. I'm highly doubtful that Moshe Rabbeinu was lounging around in his tent and they brought all the Lego pieces to him while he was sitting in his armchair. Moshe certainly went to the site location, yet the Torah states that they, which means the builders and the artisans, brought it to Moshe. In fact, it could not have been brought to him. It was too heavy. Rashi on the spot cites Midrash Tanchuma 2:11, notes that the Mishkan was not yet built, too heavy for a human to erect, and that Moshe, only with with God imbued strength, was the one who erected it. And the Holy One, blessed be He, his assistants. In fact, the Midrash says that God was the one who had erected it. Moshe was only an actor who pretended to build it. They, whomever they were, could not have built it, whatever it is, to Moshe, because it was too heavy. Now, even if you retort the tabernacle was not yet built, so it was not a tabernacle, just assembled parts, it was not brought to Moses. Moses went somewhere to visit it, subject and object. Where exactly was Moses? Even if you further retort that right at the beginning of Parashat Truma, Chazal note that the Aron Kodesh was the primary reason for the tabernacle. That's the Holy Ark. It's only mentioned 3 verses later. Lehavdil, if the Mona Lisa is the spiritual epicenter of the Louvre, then you go straight there and you discuss that. No discussion about the bars, the posts, the sockets, the clasps. I think the answer may unlock the key to Sefer Shmot, its final word, and the proper perspective, how to live a proper spiritual perspective in life. Remember Einstein and the theory of special relativity? One observer is on the ground, the other observer is in the train. Each observer have time as a constant, but space and speed also seem constant to them. In fact, to each observer, time also seems constant, but between each other, they are in fact relative. This leads to great science and great science fiction, such as the famous twin paradox. As Ramban gives every book in the Pentateuch a name, Shmot is called Sefer HaGeula. It starts in an unredeemed state and it ends in a redeemed state. The tabernacle, or the Mishkan, is where HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence resides. It's the ontologically redeemed state. It's the quintessential everything for Geula, for redemption. But what the tabernacle is not, it is not a single GPS location tag. You can't find the tabernacle using Google Maps. To quote Rava in Masechet Makot 22b, Rava says, "How foolish are those other people who stand up for the Torah scroll, but do not stand up for a Torah scholar." Rava is the Gadol Hador. He's the leader of the generation. He criticized those who respect the institutions, but not the people who embody the goal and the essence of the institution. They will find they will honor the Torah as an institution, but ironically, they will not honor those who embody the Torah inside and outside. Rava finds that ironic. The source for Rava's irony is right here in Parashat Pekudei. They brought the tabernacle to Moses, who was greater. Moses, who speaks with God, who had spent 80 days in solitude with God, the greatest prophet and leader of all time, or some unassembled parts. At that time in Sefer Shmot, Moshe was the epicenter. Moses might have walked into the site location with his feet, but he remained the relative center of the Exodus redemption. But Sefer Shmot, which is Sefer HaGeula, has one more chapter. They, or Moses according to Midrash Tanchuma, assemble the tabernacle. God's presence is now resting in the tabernacle. God, or God's presence, is the new epicenter of our redemptive process. But where exactly is this tabernacle? Send me the GPS coordinates so I can get there. No, Sefer Shmot concludes that it is not a place. The ontological tabernacle moves, and it moves, for over the tabernacle, as the pasuk says, for over the tabernacle is a cloud of God rested by day, and a fire would peer in it by night, in the view of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys. All their journeys is the last word of Sefer Shmot. The tabernacle, and Bechol Masehem, the last word of Sefer Shmot, the tabernacle is where God is. But where? Throughout all their journeys. We are unredeemed without God, but God, who is our epicenter, is always traveling with us. It is the theory of very, very special relativity. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom.